my brother's a musician, and he was not really into school that much, and he's definitely influenced me a lot.
Most of my friends are musicians. My dad's a musician. Yeah, yes, I know a lot of musicians.
My sister played the flute in high school. My father's been playing the drums since high school as well. And yeah, my cousin is in the music industry. He's a producer.
My mom went to school for music. She majored in the organ, which I actually think is pretty cool. My dad is he's not really like formally like trained in music. But he's obviously like really passionate about, he always plays music in the house. There's always, some sort of like music playing somewhere in the house.
Well, first of all, my mom is totally not musically inclined at all. She's not at all. Never. I don't know. She likes to dance, but she loves music. Loves music. She says Michael Jackson was the soundtrack of her life. But but in terms of playing an instrument, she never played an instrument. My dad plays a little bit of guitar and will sing sometimes, but he's not a classical musician. My brother started playing the violin in elementary school. He played for a year, and then he switched to bass. So I was I experienced the orchestra for the first time because of my brother, because I would go to see him perform.
When I was a baby, I never slept. Like, I just would cry all night, and my dad wrote me a song on his guitar and fell asleep instantly. There was always music. Like, I could sing you, like, an entire Beatles album by the time I was, 5. Like, it's just, I've always had music around.
I mean, my father played all kinds of music when I was really young and just introduced me to all, different genres at a very young age. And I think that definitely inspired me to pick up an instrument. And, when I really connected the most with guitar players in general, so that was really why I chose to play the guitar.
My brother was taking guitar lessons, actually. That's the instrument I think he was starting on, actually, the guitar. No, not the violin. And then I would go with him to with my mom, to his lessons, to this music school that was in our town. And, it was, for young kids. And, I remember I would go and sit in the practice room alone and just be touching the piano keys and playing on it. And I remember feeling like I was so good at the piano, but I was 5 or something, but I remember really, really loving playing the piano. So then I was like, Mom, can I take piano lessons? No one was like, you have to learn the piano or you have to do this. I just sat down at the bench and loved it, and I was like, Mom, I want to take lessons. And I don't know how old I was.
The first time I touched an instrument was when I was 4 years old, I think, and my dad sat me on his lap, and he had his bass on one leg and me on the other, and he let me, play bass while he, played notes with his other hand.
Well, I know when I was 4 or something, my mom brought me to a violin shop, and I definitely thought that they were all really pretty.
There was this one day where the high schoolers would come, and everyone had to go. So everyone in my 4th grade class went to the gymnasium in my elementary school, and there were the high schoolers with all their instruments, and we had a slip of paper with us and a pencil, and we had to write down our top 3 instruments. This girl, Sarah, I remember her name, came up and sat down and had this black case, and we were all like, what's inside there? And then she pulled it out piece by piece, and it ends up being the bassoon, this huge, long instrument, and so I thought it was beautiful. And then she starts playing, and right away I fell in love with the sound.
One time in particular that I felt really inspired by just musicians or just music in general, specifically the guitar, was when I saw Roger Waters, who's the bass player for Pink Floyd. He put on a concert. You know, The Wall. It's like the whole like, yeah, it's one of their albums. So he put on a live concert for that album, and it just like, yeah, I don't know. It was really mind blowing in general.
So the way they like kind of recruited you to be in like band or orchestra or whatever, it was like they would have a bunch of kids from the high school come to the elementary schools and like play for you. And so this one girl, we're actually really good friends now, her name is Melissa. She was the oboist who came down to like play, and so we were all like packed into this like nasty gym. It was super warm and none of us really wanted to be there. And so like they went like one by one like down the line going through all of these instruments and like playing them so you could hear what they sounded like, and like they like showed them to you, like they had like a slideshow with like pictures or whatever. And then they had like a bar graph at the end of it that was like the percentage of people who played each instrument. And so like the tallest bars were like violin and flute, because like everybody plays those. And then all the way at the end at the bottom was the oboe, and I was like, hey, that looks fun.
So yeah, my mom, I think she just sort of introduced the violin to me. Yeah, I was really young. I was like 4. And when you're at that age, you don't really know really like what you wanted, or like I just sort of had the violin sort of like handed to me. So yeah, it was pretty much something my parents sort of really encouraged me to do, mostly my mom. And I didn't really, it's not like I didn't have like a say, but I just sort of was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll play the violin.
Finding out that no one else wanted to play the bassoon made me want to play it even more. And I liked that no one else wanted to play it, and that I was going to be different than everyone else.
So part of playing in like the school band is you get lessons to like go with that, because obviously like who's going to teach you? So the first teacher I had was our band director, who's a drummer. So like he was just basically a page ahead of me in my lesson book, so like he didn't know what he was doing. So those were kind of awkward lessons, because like I would ask him something and he wouldn't have answers for me, because like that's not his thing. And like eventually it got to the point where he was like, you need to find someone better than me to teach you, because like you have potential and you should probably pursue this.
I did lessons for about 2 years, but I never really got, I don't know, I kind of just started to learn stuff on my own.
And I was taking classes with I had a wonderful music teacher in elementary school. She was just like the nicest lady. And I remember she actually, though, didn't want me to play the bassoon. Oh, this is what made me want to play it more, actually. She didn't want me to play the bassoon. She said, play the oboe first, it's smaller, and then you can work up to the bassoon. And I was like, no, this is what I want to play. And I was in 4th grade, fighting my parents, too. Like, they're like, maybe she's right. And I was like, no, this is it. This is the sound that I want to make. And she's like, play that smaller, it'll be easier. I was like, no.
I was in 6th grade when I had like started taking private lessons that were like legit and not like, this school is making you sit in a room for half an hour. So like, I guess that's when it kind of all really started. Yeah, I've had 4 teachers, I guess, the entire time I've been playing, but like one like intermittently in the summers, and then like the other ones during the school year.
In elementary school, we had an orchestra, so yeah, I go to whenever we had an orchestra like sectional, I would go. So that was, I don't know, since like 4th grade or something, and then ever since 4th grade, like every year up until every year I've been playing in the orchestra at school.
I was in the jazz band in middle school and high school. That was fun. I had a lot of fun with that, honestly. I think reading music for me is like, it was a little, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite thing to do, but I really enjoyed playing with the band, and I really liked, being able to like just play really fun chords and stuff. But, I think yeah, I think I would have preferred a smaller band kind of setting, which I never really got to experience in high school. But yeah, just for playing the guitar in general, I think I would have preferred that. But overall, I had a really fun time playing in the jazz band.
So I was in band, and then I played in band all in middle school and orchestra. And then I played in band and orchestra in high school, and I've been in a lot of different orchestras. I guess what's kept me going is that just this abundant amount, I don't know, this huge amount of room to improve.
People kept telling me I could go places, I guess. Like, every teacher I've had, like, off the bat, like, has been like, okay, I want you to play for me, so I know, like, where you are. And so I've played for them, and they've been like, you're going places, you have potential, stick with this.
I don't know, sometimes when I listen to, like, a really cool, like, guitar solo or just, like a classical guitar piece, I kind of, like, feel something, like, in my body. It just feels really good to listen to it, and that's why I just love it so much. I think nothing else has really made me feel that way. Like, when I hear music, I think the guitar just makes me feel that kind of way, makes me feel really happy when I listen to it.
Like, you know when you have something in your life, and it's just always been there, and, like, it's so ingrained in who you are, like, you just don't know how to not have that in your life?
My relationship with the violin is sort of like a love, like, hate, because I've been playing the violin for so long where I just, like, you know, it's sort of like second nature to me. But at the same time, I sort of really, like, at the end of high school, I really wanted to, like, you know, like, experience different things, and I felt that the violin was, like, holding me back from that. But up until high school, I guess the pure fact of how I was sort of, you know, I was like, good at playing the violin, you know, I guess that sort of, like, made it, like, being good at something sort of, like, gives you, like, more reason to like it, you know? So, like, I guess that's, like, one of the reasons why I, like, stuck to it.
It was definitely romanticized when I was little, and, like, but now it's more just real. And, like, I realize new things about it and about the sound. There's a human, like, quality to the bassoon that's different than all other instruments. I think it has more of a human, like, sound quality to it.
I think it's definitely evolved into something that I didn't really use the guitar as much as an outlet as much when I was younger, and now I use it as, you know, I like to play it when I'm, you know, just need to do something that's not work, or just kind of, you know, get away from all my other responsibilities and shit that's going on in my life.
It's definitely changed, or not changed, but, like, shaped who I'm friends with and, like, what I end up doing.
I sometimes think about this a lot. The violin sort of just opened up this whole world of music, especially sort of the classical side, you know? The classical world. I met a lot of people. I have a close friend who I met through the violin, by going to, like summer camp, like music summer camp, and, like, other outside orchestras and stuff like that. So in a way, like, I'm really glad, like, the violin is part of my life, because, like, I met so many people.
If I didn't pick the bassoon, it's a chain. It's a whole chain of things that it started. Like, so I started with this teacher in middle school who I, like, I had created this really great relationship with her. I loved her so much. She was wonderful. And she told me about Kinhaven, which is, because her son went there, and which is this music camp that I've attended that ended up attending for 6 years in a row. So, and that without Kinhaven, I wouldn't be who I am. And without the friends that I made there, I wouldn't be who I am. It's affected my college decision, immensely. I probably wouldn't be at Skidmore if I didn't play the bassoon.
I think it's helped me like express myself in a lot of ways. I think I'd like to think that it's a way that I can. Well, it has in a lot of ways. You know, since I first started to like the guitar in general, it's always sort of changed my outlook on things, especially music. It's made me appreciate music in general on a whole other plane that I wouldn't have before, and it's sort of like the platform that I like used in order to get into music in general, and I would say music is like the thing I care about most.
My ears are like more like in tune with classical music. You know, like these days a lot of kids, you know, don't really listen to classical music, you know, but like I think it's because I play the violin, like I'm able to really like I became to appreciate it.
I even actually wrote my college essay about, I told you this, but I wrote my college essay about this about how I picked the bassoon, because my tutor, or my SAT tutor or my college or whatever, she was like, "What's your story?" And I immediately thought of, I don't know, this is my story, because for the reasons I picked the bassoon and the qualities of the bassoon, and I think those definitely reflect who I am as a person.
The oboe is a weird instrument. It's pretty out there. Like, it's not like I said, it's an acquired taste. You kind of have to get used to it. And so, like, it takes a certain kind of person to play this instrument, I guess. Like, if that says anything about who I am, I guess. Like, you kind of have to be a little crazy to do this.
Certain aspects of the violin definitely, I feel like, reflects who I am. I think the violin, in the most purest sense, I think, me personally, I feel like it's a very, like, free-flowing instrument by the way it just sort of sounds to me.
I think I use it as a way to express who I am, and I think a lot of people do that through their music as well, and they do that with any, you know, instrument that they find interesting or, you know, exciting to play.
A lot of musicians that I know, myself included, kind of think of their instrument as an extension of themselves. And a lot of what you do when you play an instrument is tell a story, and you tell your story. You can tell a lot about a person by what they play, how they play it, like how passionate they are about what they do.
It's interesting because it's like if someone says that they play like a certain instrument, you're like, wait, I could totally see that. But it's really cool if you actually see someone play that, like, whatever instrument they are playing. And I think it's like a really, like, it could be very personal, I feel like, seeing someone play, you know, an instrument.
Yeah.
But then I feel like once you see them playing the instrument, I feel like you could see, like, the connection, you know?
I think generally, I think instruments definitely reflect the person.
I absolutely think that the guitar, the music, the instrument is a direct reflection of the musician. I think everyone can, you know, express themselves through any number of instruments.